What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to another episode of the Smark Out Moments Smack Talk podcast. I'm your host, as always, Tony Mango, and joining me, as always, is Robert DeFelice.
One more match.
And Callum Wiggins.
I prefer one more match. More match.
I prefer one to watch. I keep typing that out because I'm so used to doing that. But no, we are doing one more match. This is the first time that we've ever done this, so I want to make sure that everybody knows what the hell this actually is. One more match is a concept that I've been sleeping on for well over a year. It might have even been 2 years at this point. It was on my list of things that I thought might make an interesting topic to do down the line, and a little bit ago, I kind of planned that maybe this would be a good week for it, and man, was I right about that, because there's been a discussion of the exact same thing that we are going to talk about. One more match boils down to if a particular superstar were to come out of retirement, or if they've passed away and they could come back to life, or whatever the case may be, like that kind of thing, and they could just have one more match, kind of like what Christian kept asking for with the Randy Orton feud. Who would that person be fighting? Who would be the best opponent for them? You know, who would you like to see in whatever capacity? Why would you like to see that person go up against that person, etc.? But you have to keep in mind that this would be one more match. It's not a series of matches. It's not a feud. It's not like, man, I would love to see a best of 5 between this person and that person or anything like that. And I guess one of the rules that we should have going forward is you can't bring other people back to life outside of the one that we could potentially be bringing back to life. I think we're probably not going to be doing those in the future. It's probably going to be retired people. But we're going to be focusing this time around on Shawn Michaels. It's always good to start with Shawn Michaels on a lot of these. It's like a benchmark, kind of. And since this week, Shawn Michaels was going to be popping up and talking about the last time ever with Triple H and Undertaker, then on Monday Night Raw, they went ahead and they did the whole one more match thing. If I could come back and have one more match, everybody keeps asking me, and so on and so forth. Lots of different options with Shawn Michaels. He's one of, if not the best wrestler of all time. We got a lot of great wrestlers on the roster right now, and we got a lot of people that are great outside of WWE too. So you got to keep in mind Chris Jericho. He's not wrestling in WWE. So now that that's the case, we've got people outside of the company that he can fight. And we're going to incorporate those people and the WWE roster all and kind of figure out what we got going on here and what we would like to see be that one person Shawn Michaels would go up against. So, before we go and break down roster by roster and everything, I just want to give everybody a chance to say something right now. When this was presented to you, what was the first person that popped in your mind? Maybe not necessarily the person that you would want to pick, because we're going to pick at the end, but who was the one person where you're like, one more match, Shawn Michaels? Oh, I'll probably end up saying this one. Who'd you think?
I immediately thought AJ Styles. It's just been always a dream match of mine.
The immediate name for me was Daniel Bryan.
That's interesting because we all had different immediate names. My first immediate name was Johnny Gargano.
Really?
Yeah. And then a couple other people started flooding in. So we're going to talk about a lot of them, but we're also going to talk about the people that we're not necessarily going to pick because why not just go through them? So let's start with the Monday Night Raw roster. I'm going to toss out some names, and I want you guys to stop me if you think that there's a talking point. We'll do it that way. Or I'll stop myself if I think there's a talking point. Akam, Apollo Crews, Baron Corbin, Big Show, nobody's going to say that one, Bo Dallas, Bobby Lashley, Bobby Roode I'm going to stop at. I think Bobby Roode in his prime versus Shawn Michaels in his prime would have been a fantastic feud. Maybe not necessarily like the one more match type thing, but the feud itself, I think, could have been amazing. What do you guys think about that?
I agree. Wholeheartedly. I think Bobby Roode, right now, I think he's being completely wasted. I think he's so good. And let's say a 2011 Bobby Roode versus maybe 2006, 2005 Shawn Michaels, I'd watch it.
Yep. That'd be great. I know that, Callum, you're not the biggest on Bobby Roode.
He's tainted goods to me. and even though I'm well aware of his qualities as both a wrestler and a talker, and the feud would probably be, and the match itself would probably be serviceable, I don't think I'd enjoy it.
We got Braun Strowman, Bray Wyatt.
Stop right there. I think Bray Wyatt, before, like
Move on.
Callum was just saying about him good, Bray Wyatt, when he first popped up, versus a post-comeback Shawn Michaels where he's religious, they could tell a very interesting story about Bray Wyatt trying to bring the devil out of Shawn Michaels.
That could be kind of cool, yeah. It'd be like, you're putting up a facade, Sean. You know who you really are. Like, that kind of thing.
I think that only works as a multi-series feud, because you'd have to trade wins and stuff. I don't think it would work for one match, because it would end with Bray Wyatt losing, and he
They all
does that
do,
enough.
so who cares?
So I'm kind of like, I don't really want to go into a feud or a match knowing what the outcome is immediately after it starts.
Well, I guess then Bray Wyatt in his prime, when he still had a chance to win some feuds.
Well, which is why I said Bray Wyatt in his prime. Kind of like the Bobby Roode thing. Before they're tainted goods.
Yeah. And now, he's not in his prime. Hell no. Not a chance.
No way.
Brock Lesnar, I don't think that would work. He would just destroy Michaels.
It's a novelty.
Like 2003, this match I would want to see it. Now or closer to Shawn's retirement? No.
He'd get the best match out of Brock. That's for sure.
And I think 2003 Brock was a machine and could have had some fun with it,
Yeah. I would like to see Chad Gable, but there's bigger fish to fry. It's one of those.
Agreed.
Kurt Hawkins, that's just one super kick, and that's the end of it. Curtis Axel, nah.
Stop right there.
Really?
It's Mr. Perfect Son.
Yeah, I gotta give him that.
Against Shawn Michaels.
So?
Paul Heyman era, Curtis Axel?
I think Curtis Axel gets the short end of the stick because he hasn't got much of a personality, but he's worked on his personality. And he actually has a lot of ability in the ring, but he's facaded as a character that can't actually do that kind of stuff.
I agree completely.
So I think if you were able to build him up a little bit as a single star, give him a little bit of credibility, I think you'd have a good match with Shawn.
I agree.
But I also hold by the idea. It's more of a talking point just for the talking point's sake, even though I know that there's a lot of other people I'd rather see him have a match with. I'd give Curtis a little bit of credit.
I'd pass. And I like Curtis Axel to a certain
so
extent.
did his dad.
Aw.
Oh,
Boo.
Jesus Christ.
Thumb this man down.
One more match. Mr. Perfect.
We got Dash Wilder, Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, no.
I'd have to stop at Dolph Ziggler, of course. I'm sure that they could have a fantastic match. That would be one of the potential matches I would think that I'd put him in the ranking as a potential pick.
I mean, like, I don't have to sit here and blow smoke up Ziggler's ass. You guys know how I feel.
But you're just watching you're watching the man and a discount version of the man going against each other.
You're not going to like what I have to say when we get to the NXT portion.
Well, at the same time, though, if Shawn Michaels can put on a good match with anybody, wouldn't you really want to see Shawn Michaels versus Shawn Michaels?
I think specifically 2012 Ziggler with AJ and Big E versus Shawn Michaels before his retirement is what I would want to see. I'm not too sure.
I would not want to put. It'll be a good one-off match, but it's definitely not the person who I'd pick for the actual contendership of it.
I mean, push comes to shove, I've got some other people that I think outrank Ziggler, but he would if he would be like, all right, if WWE said like, all right, Shawn Michaels has like 5 more matches instead of 1 more match, I'm almost positive Dolph would be one of them.
Yeah, but I can understand it. It's just that I'm obviously, my anti-Ziggler stuff, so maybe I'm biased, and I am biased, but it's just a case of I understand. I can picture what the build to the match would be. It would just be people saying, "Oh, Dolph has been compared to Shawn Michaels all his life. Oh, he uses the super kick. Oh," and stuff like that. It's just going. him saying, "I've been better than you all the time because that's every Dolph Ziggler feud that he does as a singles guy, and the crowd don't respect me and they only care about you, even though you've been retired for so long." Blah 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 blah. Fuck off.
See, I'd love to even see something a little bit different. I'd love to see like
I don't
Dolph.
see anything different from Dolph Ziggler personally.
I mean, like Dolph come into the storyline and be doing something where it's like he wants to prove himself to Shawn, and Shawn being like, "Kid, you're just a knockoff," and then him being like, "No, dude, I can be better." Like that kind of a thing. I'd like Dolph to be almost the baby face. I think that could be kind of fun. And then it's like at the end of it, Dolph beats Shawn to prove that he can be his own man, kind of thing. Like that'd be kind of fun. Of course, you can't do that with the current version of Dolph because current Dolph is an asshole.
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre, I think, is worth
I
at
wanna
least
see it.
talking about, but I wouldn't pick him.
No,
I would want to see it.
That's like if you have like 13 matches left.
Yeah,
Yeah,
put one
I'll
of
give
them
you
in.
that.
I don't even know where he would rank on the list for me, but I mean, he's going to be above like Bo Dallas, obviously, and stuff. But
Rank below Elias for me.
well, Elias is the next name, and I think Elias is one of those guys. I wouldn't like to see them in a match necessarily, but I'd like to see one segment between the two. That's it.
I'm gonna agree with Tony.
Yeah, maybe the segment more than the match itself. Elias isn't the greatest in the ring.
Yeah,
Real quick, would you want to see Dolphin Drew versus DX?
yeah, that'd be fun.
I don't like seeing anything with Dolph, so no.
Ah,
Yeah, like
Ooh.
Drew matching up a little bit more with Triple H and Dolph
And also don't
matching up
wanna-
with HBK.
And also, I'm done with DX. I don't really see any more knockoff.
I'm
versions.
just talking about them as a tag team and in-ring competitors. I'm not saying
I mean, if it's tag team, I'd rather see the Rockers against Drew McIntyre and
I don't
Dolph
want to see
Ziggler.
Marty Jannetty do it.
Yeah, I don't want to see Marty at all.
Well, like a 1990s coked up Jannetty, that would be awesome.
Fandango would be a really good match, but the feud, nah.
Crazy Michaels
One
dance.
match on Raw would be enough.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I honestly would skip past Finn Balor.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've really lost him in a lot of ways.
I'm sorry, Finn. I feel bad.
I feel like we're crapping on Finn all the time, but at the same time, it's sort of like, yeah, well, give me a
I'm
reason
kind of
not
enjoying
to.
it.
We've seen Goldust. Don't need to do
I'm
that
mad
again.
that we never got a full program out of it.
Yeah, that could have been like a championship feud.
Like with, straight up 95, 96 Goldust going after the guy that just posed for Playgirl.
Yeah, that would have been a really good feud.
It'd be interesting who would be kissing who in that situation.
Shawn would end up just leaving with Marlena.
We just know that Vince McMahon would probably be enjoying what he sees.
We can skip by Heath Slater, I'm pretty sure.
Well, wait a minute. This is a man who defeated Edge and Chris Jericho in one tag match. Heath Slater is an icon.
Jason Jordan, it could be good, but bigger fish to fry again. Jinder Mahal, no.
No, please.
Kevin Owens, yes.
100% yes for Kevin Owens.
He is one of my names as a potential, for sure.
As one of
I
the-
want to see the badass Kevin Owens.
Yeah,
as
NXT Kevin
Superstars.
Owens.
Just as like anybody on the roster that you just said, okay, you have to build up and just have one match, tell a convincing story with this guy. But you don't put him with anyone else but Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is one of the smartest and most refined wrestlers on the entire roster.
Mm-hmm.
And he's safe as well, even though he does a lot of dangerous stuff. Like Michaels would know that he's always like in good hands with Kevin Owens.
And he's bigger than Michaels, too. And Michaels used to work really well with people that were bigger than him. Because,
That was part of my logic as well, yeah.
he did the whole, like, the underdog type thing. Owens would be the powerhouse. Shawn would be the agile type, working the speed angle.
And Owens is always great at, if he was to lose the match, he doesn't lose anything out of it.
Yeah. So
He's always good at protecting his own character's credibility.
He's definitely on the list for me. Connor isn't.
Why are you even going through like the Raw tag team guys?
Because it's worth noting that they suck.
They exist.
Uh,
They exist.
And I'd roll off Kurt Angle too. We've already seen it, and he's a shell of his former self.
We won't see any better than what we've seen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would say no to Matt Hardy.
Yeah, he's not good enough in the ring currently.
I would definitely say no to Mike Kanellis. Definitely say no to Mojo Rawley. Definitely say no to No Way Jose.
No way, Jose.
I'm going to nix out Razor. Rhino, no. And we pretty much have to talk about Roman Reigns.
Oh, this match would be fantastic.
Like, again, it's another big guy against Shawn Michaels.
Yep, and if it was heel Roman Reigns, that could be
And
one
I
of those
think-
best matches, you know?
Maybe not even heel Roman Reigns, but I think let's just imagine for a second Shawn Michaels is a heel, and he's like
Doing the Hogan
antagonizing
bumps.
Roman. Can you imagine?
Oh, people would just cheer him, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. I think heel Shawn would play into that better than anyone on this current roster could.
Like, it's very rare to see a bad Roman Reigns match. So just by pure quality alone and the size differential, the fact that Roman tends to work well with like old school names as well. Yeah, I think it would be a great match. One of the better matches out of the entire list we've gone through so far.
Imagine the spot of him going for the Superman punch and getting a super kick.
Oh, that's yeah.
Somebody's like, oh, and he's going to hit the super, super kick, instead of the super punch, like that kind of thing. So that's somebody to take note of. Now everybody's in the comments groaning, and they're just like, oh my god, you're going to pick Roman? Like, you know. Sami Zayn, I think that they could have a really good match, but
Maybe on Raw, but I wouldn't want to see a program ever.
he'd be like my 15th pick or something like that, probably.
Yeah. A guy that can work with basically anybody, but he's not really that big of a deal at the moment.
We can all agree that there's nothing to talk about with Seth Rollins, right?
Or Scott Dawson, who he completely skips.
Yeah, let's skip Scott Dawson. That's not happening. Seth Rollins is a guarantee.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
match is one of the better ones that they can do with the entire main roster.
But
And- Go ahead.
it just has to be said that with Michaels saying that he doesn't really want to work with people like 20 odd years younger than him that would outshine him, like this is probably the person that he's got in his mind when he says that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because Rollins is, Michaels in the shape that he's in, condition, and just his innate ability to do wrestle the way that he does, would still have a great match with Seth Rollins. But Seth would go in there with the full intention of outshining him.
I think it's pretty interesting to note, though, that we are discussing Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, and we skipped completely over Dean Ambrose. None of us were like, oh, no, there might be something there.
I thought about it, but it's like the way that they have presented Ambrose, I don't care to see him in a major match position.
He would have to be a heel, and it would have to be like a blood feud, hardcore brawl type thing. And that's
And he'd
not
have
where
to be
Shawn Michaels'
heel, and
strength
it would have
is.
to be like scrubbing the history of him in the Shield, and like let's start over again
Yeah.
and do him as a heel, the way he was going to come in feuding with Foley, and then do all that. But that's too much work when we're talking about a one more match type situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a lot of work. Seth Rollins, you can pretty much just have like, hey everybody, Seth Rollins versus HBK, and not even do like a feud, and it would still be amazing. Titus O'Neil, no. Tyler Breeze, unfortunately, no.
NXT Tyler Breeze, I would like to see it.
Yeah, I mean, they could do the whole like copy paste
Heartbreak
kind of
Kid
thing.
against Heartbreak Kid versus the selfie model.
Yeah.
Like I could just imagine like dorky dad Sean being like, I don't know if you knew this, but I sing my own theme song too, Tyler. You know, just like dumb shit like that are the reason that I want to see that.
And Victor, no. Zack Ryder, no. Zack Ryder could be fun, but no. Cruiserweights, though, these are pretty interesting. I'd love to see him against almost any of these, but I'd say pass on Tozawa, pass on Arya Davari, who hasn't even been around in months. I don't know what's up with that.
Well, Davari might want to get revenge for his brother there.
Maybe. Brian Kendrick could be really good.
Oh my God, yes.
There's a big
trained him,
story,
didn't
yeah.
he?
Yeah, big story between the two of them.
Oh
so.
my God. And Brian Kendrick is so underrated. And yeah, he's that match, I want to see it.
I, oddly enough, would love to see Buddy Murphy. He's been proving himself damn well.
I think he's one of the best overall wrestlers on the entire roster for 205 Live.
Yep.
I find it hard to get interested in any of these people fighting an actual star.
Maybe because they are lower on the totem pole, and it would be weird if it's like, I mean, I'm gonna throw out there too. Like, I like Cedric Alexander a lot, and I'd love to see Cedric against HBK. But if you tell me Shawn Michaels is coming back for one more match and it ends up being Cedric Alexander, I'm gonna be like, what? You know?
Drew Gulak is a name that I would love to see it in like a Raw capacity.
Yep.
You know, that match would be really, really good.
Yeah, that's another one. I'd like Gentleman Jack Gallagher, but no, I'd pass. I would pass on all members of the Lucha House Party, Grand Metalik, Kalisto, and Lince Dorado.
I think I'd pass on everybody now that I said Kendrick and Drew.
Well, yeah, I'd pass on Hideo Itami. I'd pass on Noam Dar. I'd pass on Tony Nese. But I would at least entertain the idea of TJP and Mustafa Ali. I'd pass on Leo Rush, too.
Mustafa's another, I would like to see it on Raw, one time only.
Mostly the 205 Live roster, I have to agree. Mostly they are this could be a really, really, really good Raw match. Kind of like Shelton Benjamin had.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, but if it's a pay-per-view and all that, again, bigger fish to fry. I'm going to use that phrase a lot. We're going to skip past all the women because I don't think Shawn Michaels versus Sasha Banks should be one of those matches. Let's see here. Let's go to the SmackDown roster. Aiden English? No. Of course, we have to talk AJ Styles.
Yeah, I mean...
He's a front runner.
This match should have happened. It's one of those, God damn it, they didn't get AJ fast enough. This match would be so good. I think even better now that AJ has kind of slowed down a little bit and he's more into the WWE style. I think it could play into Shawn's strengths. This match, I wish it would happen.
Yeah, it's kind of the match that I would get the sense that if Michaels was to come back with one more match with the current group of guys, AJ Styles would be one of the people that he would single out.
Yeah, it would have to be. It's one of the most obvious ones. It's kind of like, why didn't they do Undertaker Sting? If they didn't do AJ Styles, Shawn Michaels, people would be like, what the hell are you thinking? You know?
Yeah.
Alexander Wolf, no. Andrade Cien Almas, I mean, I'll give him credit. He's been kicking some ass lately, but I'd have to pass. That would be a Raw
I would
match.
Want to see it on TV.
Yeah. Big E, that would be kind of funny, but no. Cesaro could get a damn good match out of Shawn, but again, not the biggest one out of the list.
It would have to be a Cesaro from a few years back,
and it would have to be, again, I know I keep saying this, I'm sorry, but a television match or Raw match. I don't know if they could build to a story.
Yeah. Of course, another big name, Daniel Bryan. He's a definite on the list.
I thought that they were going to do full disclosure. I know we've been kind of doing the whole Mark DeFelice. I thought that they were going to do this a few years ago when Shawn was kind of being a dick to him. And I understand why they didn't. And I understand that Shawn tried to give the audience the payoff by tapping out to the yes lock. But I really thought that they were going with this in 2013.
That's what I thought that they were going to potentially do too.
I'd really love a very heated feud between the two of them because I'd like Daniel Bryan to go really hard on what actually was like being trained by Shawn Michaels or quote unquote being trained by Shawn Michaels because Shawn was, to all my recollections of what I heard from people that were involved in the thing, rarely ever there, didn't really take too much interest in the wrestling school. Bryan was actually trained by other people. He credits more people like William Regal for his actual training and stuff on those lines. So I'd like Daniel just to say, well, you were never there and I became the greatest wrestler in the world. I didn't learn from you, I exceeded you, and stuff along those lines.
That would definitely be the feud. It would definitely be like, you mean you're taking credit for my career? You didn't help me, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, and Bryan's one of the best in the roster of just like, because he doesn't give a fuck about anything, so he'll just say anything that comes to mind, and then he'll deal with the consequences afterwards, much like Michaels would do in the past.
And I love, I don't give a fuck, Daniel Bryan, when he just says, like, whatever he wants. And I could see Bryan being like, people keep comparing us when I'm a far better wrestler than you. You just came out and you danced around and you were pretty. You didn't know how to put on a hold. Like,
and you can even play up the angle too and be like, Shawn, you were a big deal in a time frame where you had a bunch of burly people who couldn't wrestle, so you stood out and you looked better compared to garbage. Look at the roster that I'm dealing with. I've got some of the best wrestlers in the world. We've got Seth Rollins, we've got AJ Styles, we've got whatever, and I'm still holding my own against the best in the world that we have. You ended up fighting people like Kevin Nash, and like kind of like then it's like, oh, that's my friend, you can't say that. Like, like they could do a lot of shit like that. That could be a damn good feud. And even if it wasn't a feud, even if it was just one match, if it was just like, hey, special attraction, HBK versus Daniel Bryan, everybody would be like, here's my fucking money. Like, that's one of those easy guarantees. You don't have to do any work for it. You're going to get a hell of a payoff. Just like Epico.
Oh damn, Epico is now in the conversation. We've got to just kill off all the Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles ideas. He's got Epic in the name for a reason.
Yeah. Of course, Epico's a no. Eric Young, no. Harper, no.
Eric Young, I think there could be a story there. If told under the right circumstances, like, he's actually one of those guys that the Clique really enjoy. So I think with the right build and the right push, Eric Young could be a lot of fun.
Raw match to me.
Yeah, that's it.
I'd rather see him against Harper even.
Harper and him would be a good match, but again, we're talking about that. Harper's a bigger guy. I would love to see him go for the discus clothesline and just get kicked.
Yeah. It would kind of remind me of like how Shawn used to work with Sid. Because Harper's a big guy kind of like that, but more athletic.
It wouldn't be like moving a giant broom around.
Yeah.
Harper can actually do stuff.
Although Harper could probably use a broom and a bath.
He could probably use like the level of overness Sid had as well.
Maybe if we get a giant pyro set that just says Harper and sparkles up.
Who's the man? Harper's the man. Jeff Hardy, if we were talking like 2007, yeah, but
they did this match.
Yeah, we've seen it. Yeah,
that's the thing too. We have seen
really
it.
Good.
Yeah.
So at this point, no. Jimmy and Jey Uso, I'm sure that they could have great matches in like a tag team situation, but no, especially not a singles match against either of them.
You just bring back Marty Jannetty. Yeah.
I'm gonna Callum. I just think doesn't like Triple H, but I wouldn't mind seeing on an episode of SmackDown or Raw. Like, let's assume DX is wrestling and they're cutting a promo, and then the Usos come out and they go, "That's Shawn Michaels!" Like, just the way that they did the whole Shelton Benjamin thing, but with Shawn. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
I don't like Triple H. It's a case of I don't want to see two near 50-year-old men against the Usos.
Well, because you keep bringing up Marty Jannetty, and that is the reason that I'm questioning this.
Yeah, because the Rockers are more similar to the Usos. They're more like high-flying things. And to be fair, that was Shawn Michaels' better tag team. The DX stuff was just two main eventers teaming up together.
I'm not saying the DX is better than the Rockers. I'm just saying I don't know if I want to see Marty Jannetty versus the Usos.
I'd pick DX over the Rockers any day of the week.
You guys have marked the Attitude Era. It's fine. I go slightly further back.
To me, it's just I don't want to see Marty.
Yeah,
I don't think Marty's daughter wants to see him either. But,
well, that's a whole different type of seeing.
Yeah.
Kane, back in the day, would have been really cool.
Always good. We've seen it plenty of times.
Again, yeah, we've seen it. So,
And when we saw it, it was the worst version of Kane.
Right. If you would have gotten 98 Kane against Shawn in his prime, then that would have been great. You give me the Hook Kane and all that, then no. Especially nowadays, you get Shawn right now and Kane right now.
Where you go with that, the Hook Kane, and I know exactly what you're talking about, but I don't know if too many people would.
Yeah, what was the name of the movie?
See No Evil.
See No Evil. And wasn't there something about like November 18th or something like that? Like
May 19th.
May 19th.
Yeah, that's the day it was released. Yeah.
Carl Anderson could be fun for Raw. That's about it. Killian Dane, no. Kofi Kingston, that could be a really good fun Raw match.
Hell yeah, I'm surprised. Did they never do that?
They might have.
I mean, if they did, then it's not very memorable, so we should probably just move.
If they did, it was something like in 2007.
Yeah, something like that. I'm sure they had like tag team matches and things along those lines.
Probably. Gallows, I'd pass.
Yeah.
The Miz, I would love to see like a true feud, because they've had matches together, but they never really had like a true like one-on-one feud. But I would still pass.
Segments good. Miz is fine in the ring, but like if you're going to get one match with Shawn Michaels, are you really going to waste it on the Miz?
Right.
He's gotten a super kick or two, right?
I'm sure he has.
Oh, he's got plenty. I'm sure he asks for it every time Michaels is around. It's like, you got to super kick me at the end of the night or anything like that.
Primo, no.
Why?
R-Truth, no.
It's not Carmella. Don't want it.
Randy Orton, we've seen it before. We don't need to see it again.
I will say, always good. They always had great matches. We have seen it. I would pass, but those matches are always good.
Rowan, no. Rusev, I'd pass too.
Yeah.
Samoa Joe, I'd like to see.
Samoa Joe would be so good. We were talking about Kevin Owens being the bigger man. Joe does that to perfection.
I think it would be a very good match to great match. I don't know how well Michaels really. I mean, he obviously had great matches with Angle, but I don't know how he really works with a submission specialist like Samoa Joe. To the standard that Joe is at, really.
Yeah, it's not my top 5, but it's probably in my top 10.
Yeah, it'd be like a minor pay-per-view match.
Yeah, that's like
going by the Raw scale and stuff like that.
Like Battleground or something like that.
Yeah.
You think it could hold a candle to that legendary match with Chris Masters?
Chris Masters, I remember that dude now.
Yeah, I don't think it's a lock. But that really does.
Sheamus, back in the day, with the knowledge that he has now combined, like if you could do all that, could have been good, but I'd pass.
Thank God Shawn retired when he did, because we narrowly missed 3 pay-per-views of this match, and I'm glad that we did.
3 pay-per-views of him putting over Sheamus.
Yeah, him and Sheamus, and I'm so glad we missed this.
We've already seen Shelton.
But just to see that super kick again.
Yeah,
he should just come out and do the super kick, and that's it. You know.
Yeah, it could be like Shawn Michaels gets Kevin Owens. Benjamin just interferes and then just gets the kick to the face.
Yeah, why not? Or you know what? One more match. It's a gauntlet match.
And they all have to get kicked.
And everybody just gets super kicked, and then you end with somebody who's actually in a match. I would say we should add Shinsuke Nakamura to the potentials. But I still would pass.
It's whether you want to go with like an older, or not an old version of Shinsuke Nakamura compared to the one he is now. He's good, but he's like I was saying, like WWE's his retirement payment, so he's taking it easy, I think, for the most part.
I still think it'd be a good match. Like, I'm not sure in the context of story how you would do this. Maybe like a one-off in a tournament kind of deal.
Yeah, and I'm really really worried that Michaels would take this in a bad direction. Like put sellotape on his eyes or something like that.
Oh, Jesus.
I can just imagine Michaels doing it, because I've seen him and Triple H in the past do stuff along those lines. I mean, Triple H blacked up, for Christ's sake. What levels are they going to go to?
We're going to pass on Sin Cara, Ty Dillinger, and Xavier Woods, right? Yeah.
Woods would be the most likely out of the 3 of them. But
But Ty Dillinger is the perfect 10, Tony.
I love Ty Dillinger, but nah, he's not a big deal.
He's got to get his revenge.
Yeah. Well, then at that point it has to be HBK versus
That's
Stan.
totally worth it. Yes. That's kind of just almost won me over, really, for that.
That would be pretty funny though if it was like, we're gonna have a feud and it's like, do you remember me, Shawn? I used to go by Stan. You super kicked me and I forgot my name for a couple of years. Like that kind of thing.
I like the whole feud based around Michaels not remembering who he was.
Right.
And then during the match, he actually does super kick him and says, "Oh my god, that was you!"
Oh my god, I super kicked Stan again.
There's so many names on this roster, unfortunately, that I think would get the Mike Knox treatment from Shawn Michaels. Do you know what I mean when I say that?
Who's that
What,
guy?
the Survivor Series?
Yeah, the Survivor Series.
I can't remember who's that guy.
Who is that? Is he in the match? Is he a wrestler? Like, I feel bad for the roster, but yeah, I think a lot of them would get that treatment.
Yeah, I can see that. So let's move over to NXT. This is going to be some good, interesting conversation stuff here because the first one to talk about is Adam Cole, and we definitely have to have him on the list.
Yes. I mean, yeah, you dangerously do run close to things we were saying about Ziggler, where it might look like a carbon copy versus the real thing, but Adam Cole is so good. I think the added element of the Undisputed Era and having the numbers game over Shawn, and every last one of those four would love taking a super kick more than once. I just think it would be so good.
Well, yeah. Even though we were going in alphabetical order before, let's just kind of group this all together. Out of the four in the Undisputed Era, would you guys rank Adam Cole the one that you would want to see the most?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I would do the same.
Strong number 2.
Yeah.
Kyle O'Reilly 3 and Bob.
Yeah, that's the same order that I would go with.
I'd swap Kyle O'Reilly and
Strong.
Roderick Strong, yeah. Just because I'm a mark for Kyle O'Reilly, so.
He's very good.
Aleister Black could be a lot of fun.
Again,
quite different kicks, yeah.
I would want to see a Bray Wyatt style feud that I was describing, where it's like, it's very religious based, and Aleister has that whole dark thing going on. Yeah. That's what I would want to see.
Yeah, no man is ever truly good. No man is ever truly evil. Just because you think that you're better, Shawn, doesn't mean that you actually have been saved. Like that kind of thing.
It could be an interesting thing of like playing off both sides of Shawn Michaels. I'd say that Shawn Michaels is now like the good born again Christian, does everything by the book type thing, whereas like pre 2000 Shawn Michaels was all over the place and I'd say bordering on the evil side of things. Yeah, pretty much that.
Angelo Dawkins, no. Cesar Bononi.
Skip the tag teams for the love of God.
Just saying them out there. Cesar Bononi, no. Danny Burch, no. EC3, I would like to see, and I just rhymed that, and I didn't mean to. But I still think I would pass on EC3 over other people.
Yeah, definitely not a match that I'm particularly interested in.
Pass on Fabian Eichner, pass on Hansen, 100% have to talk about Johnny Gargano. Again, that was the one that popped in my mind. He has already said before Johnny Gargano will be one of those people that he would want to wrestle. So at least that's on his mind.
I don't really see it. Like, it's just... I know the match would be good, but I don't really care about it. I've never seen Michaels in a situation where he's really the bigger man.
Yeah,
I don't know how he'd really adapt to it. It's
maybe old man Michaels could though.
Potentially, yeah.
To me, this is a feud that is a one match thing and no feud.
Yeah, that would probably be a better way of putting it. But
maybe
I mean, they had that ab-off competition. Yeah, probably base it around that.
Maybe just like, we were talking about the idea of like a one-off in a tournament type thing. Like this could be kind of like, oh man, the finals came down to Gargano and HBK.
Well, like I have a few different thoughts of Shawn. Like there's Shawn when he's in a very intense feud, like with a Triple H or a Bret Hart. And then there's Shawn who, hey, it's this episode of Raw, and he's got to fight Benjamin. And two totally different styles, but they're all, really good in their own right.
Yeah, it'd probably be more likely like the Benjamin one, in which case I'm not really that interested. It just doesn't like just looking at the two people. I know how good Johnny Gargano is. I know how good Shawn Michaels is, but it's just not. I don't feel a spark between the two of them.
Yeah, it could be because I mean, some people they have chemistry with people that you wouldn't think that they would, and some people it looks like on paper it would be the best thing in the world, and it ends up not working. So, something to talk about though. Gonna say no for Cassius Ohno. Keith Lee is
No.
pretty surprising for me so far, but no, I still have only seen like 2 matches of his. Wouldn't want to risk that being the one final match. Kona Reeves, no. Lars Sullivan, no. I don't know anything about Matt Riddle. Haven't seen a single match of his yet, so I can't really judge that. But what do you guys
Would
think?
you want to see it, Kel?
Not really. I don't
I
think.
think it'd
I
be
don't think. It'd be interesting. I just don't think his style matches Michaels is really well. It'd be quite. I mean, it's bizarre to say because obviously he had so many good matches with Kurt Angle, and Matt Riddle has a very similar like grappling based style, along with like the flying kicks and every other MMA attribute. But it's the same way I don't really care about seeing Michaels and Lesnar. It's like, yeah, it'd be good to put all the MMA holds on and stuff like that, but want a little bit more flamboyant almost. It's just not really me.
Yeah. Montez Ford, no. Nick Miller, no. Oney Lurkin, no. Otis Dozovic, I would just love a promo. That would be it.
Sean, you're a hunter, right? You gonna give us any steaks?
HBK! Just that kind of
Yeah, he got the steaks.
Ducky, HBK! Raul Mendoza, no. Ricochet would be fun as fuck.
No, because Shawn Michaels doesn't want to have to, have a heart attack trying to keep up with Ricochet.
I mean, it'd be quite funny if just Ricochet does like always flips and moves around the side of the ring. Just Michael just pulls out one super kick and pins him.
Just every one of his flips ends in a super kick.
Yeah,
It's just like an exhibition. Like he just, what are the different types of flips I can turn into a super kick? That would be fun as hell. I'd love it. Riddick Moss is a no. Rowe is a no. Shane Thorne is a no. Tino Sabatelli is a no. Tommaso Ciampa is a yes on my book.
So, I would want to see in a dream match scenario, Shawn Michaels and Gargano versus Hunter and Ciampa.
Stop putting Hunter in all these matches. What the
Well,
fuck is the matter with you?
All right, let's make it even better
I've not
then.
seen enough of that yet.
Let's make it even better. Johnny Gargano and HBK versus Tommaso Ciampa and Marty Jannetty. there you go.
That's more like it. There we go.
I just think, like, when I think of Ciampa, I think of, that level of feud. And I don't know one-on-one if Ciampa could get a good match with Shawn Michaels. It's kind of like the Gargano thing.
I think Ciampa actually could get a better match out of Shawn than Gargano, oddly enough.
Yeah, I think he has a bit more of the size, like similarities, and he's more of a complete character in terms of his heel stuff. Gargano's a great babyface, but that's a lot of it down to Ciampa being a great heel.
I think actually with the way he calls himself the greatest sports entertainer, I think he probably has a little bit more of an easier in terms of a program, but I don't know if I would like the match.
Tucker Knight, no. Totally yes for Velveteen Dream.
Yeah.
That feud itself too would be awesome. Because it's just like he'd come out wearing like an old HBK type of gear and like playing that up. We know that Patrick Clark is great in the ring. He's proven himself now.
And as I've heard, Shawn takes a lot of pride in working with the Velveteen Dream. So I'm sure they could pull something good together.
I think the build-up would be great. His character would be on point as usual, and Michaels would definitely play along with that side of things. But if we're talking he's only got one match to have, I don't want it to be against Velveteen Dream.
Yeah, I mean, push comes to shove.
I know a lot of people have like said, "Oh, he's proven himself." To me, he hasn't proven himself in the ring. The good matches he's had are the people that are far superior to him, and the bad matches are people that are at a similar level to him.
Well, this is one of those ones that I don't think we're looking at match quality. I think it's just that experience, that build up, you know?
Yeah, but if we're building towards the 1-1 match, then he's definitely off the radar for me.
Well, we'll circle back to the idea of like what's the qualifiers for what you'd pick too, because we still have more people to talk about. I'm gonna just not even go through everybody on this list, but NXT UK, is there anybody that stands out to you guys as you would potentially pick?
Well, probably just the same as everyone else would do, which is Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, the two.
I mean, I would want to see the Pete Dunne match, not like I need to see it, but I think it'd be really good.
Yeah,
it's kind of like those two. I mean, I put it out there that neither of those two would be the 1-1 match that I'd go with, but they're the two standout names of the entire UK division, so they're the most likely ones you go with that would produce a really good match with Michaels, especially Dunne.
Yeah, Dunn would be the one, and I'm rhyming again. But even then, I'm not going to pick Pete Dunne over a lot of people. The Performance Center recruits, I don't even know who a lot of them are. Like, I have no idea who Amanpreet Singh is, and Baba Tunde I've only seen once, and so on and so forth. So, the only one that I'm looking at right now that I would say there's even would be Dijak.
No, I don't even care enough about Dijak to pretend I want to see this match.
Yeah.
However, I think we have our one more match in Velveteen, don't you?
No, I was thinking more Tian Bing. Just super kick him all the way back to China.
Well, God, if you didn't want to see the Nakamura build-up, I would hate to see this.
There's a song called Papa Ute. And every time...
I think we talked about this
we did?
Last time Babatunde was brought up.
Uwe Babatunde. It's just every time. It's the first thing I think of. So that's the WWE side of things. We have to open this up to the potential idea, even though it would be extremely unlikely, that if Shawn Michaels were to have one more match, it might not necessarily be in WWE. And if that's the case, all the people that are outside of WWE are also available to pick because, realistically speaking, Shawn Michaels could pop up in New Japan. He could pop up on Impact. He could pop up on another All In. So there are plenty of other people. And of course, no surprises here. The first name that pops in my mind is Kenny Omega.
I like it. I think I think Omega would have to tone it down a little bit. Just because I think he hits too many V-triggers in a single match sometimes. But the one that would really interest me, and I'm going to throw this one to Callum, Okada.
It's not the first name I thought of with New Japan, but literally Okada can have a great match with anybody. So that would definitely be a fantastic match.
The first name you thought of, Tanahashi?
Of course it was Tanahashi. Tanahashi and Shawn Michaels have so much comparable factors to them. We're very similar look. They both have carried their respective companies on their backs for extended periods of times. He's more of a high flyer as well, so it would fit more with Michaels' own style of doing things. And I've never seen Tanahashi in terms of two people planning out matches. There are a few people better than Tanahashi at doing that.
Now, I kind of didn't give you a chance, but what do you think about the Kenny Omega match?
I think it would be too much for Michaels.
Yeah, me too.
It's weird to say because Michaels is one of the greatest of all time, but I think at this stage of his thing, he wouldn't be able to keep up with Kenny Omega.
Kenny is ridiculous the way he hits the things that he hits, and I just think, like Callum said, it's too much.
And it's almost not a criticism of Michaels at his stage of his career. It's almost a criticism of Omega. Omega only does things at 150%. It feels like sometimes. I know he does a lot of where he does get tired and slows down, but if he's working a 20-minute match, he'll just go 100 miles an hour the entire way through it.
And when I was watching All In, this dude, I was just like, why? Slow down a little bit, just give something a chance to breathe. And he only knows one speed, man.
So what are some other names you guys think of from outside WWE?
Sammy Callahan. I want to see that build. I think that build up would be really, really good. Callahan's an evil, just like when he's played right, he can be a really evil son of a bitch, and I think that's the perfect guy for super babyface Shawn Michaels to go for. Other than Callahan, yeah, fuck off. I know we've seen it too much. I'm gonna say Jericho. I'll always enjoy their matches together. You know?
I'd always turn down a match that we've already seen before.
Yeah. You can have like a one more match scenario. It's just not who I'd go for.
I mean, technically speaking, it would be one more match between the two, but like, you know what I mean?
I'm trying to think.
I hear a lot about Naito. I don't know who, like, what his style is and stuff. Though I've never seen a Naito match, but
I would like for Naito to try to do the tranquilo pose and just fucking boot to the face.
Yeah, it's he's very Shawn Michaels, like the more laissez-faire attitude of Shawn Michaels, like the one where he just like sits on top of the top rope and just stares at his opponent. It's like I'm sure it'd fit very well. I'd put out Jay Lethal into the
yes,
mix.
I like that match. Jay Lethal, I think, is very underrated.
He's come on leaps and bounds, and Jay Lethal is also great at imitating wrestlers. Like, if he does such a good imitation of Randy Savage, like Shawn Michaels in terms of the voice, the gravelly voice, he can get that down. He could probably like mess around with him quite a bit in that style of things. And Jay Lethal's one of the most underrated names, I think, in professional wrestling at the moment.
Plus, we never got to see Randy Savage versus Shawn Michaels properly.
Yeah, that was a match we should have gotten. And another name from Ring of Honor, which would just be like a guilty pleasure, would be Dalton Castle.
Oh, I agree.
Because the flamboyant nature of it, it was just very, very. He's in terms of like the actual match quality, it wouldn't be the best out there, 100%. But like he would be in terms of somebody pushing on Michaels's kind of like more flamboyant tendencies or the more homoerotic tendencies that people used to talk about in the past with Bret Hart and stuff like that. Obviously not him and Bret Hart, because that'd be weird, but you know, it's like
although it would explain all attention.
Yeah, just the way that Bret Hart used to focus in on that sort of stuff. Like, there's nobody that brings out that side of things more than Dalton Castle.
What about a name like what about Hangman?
Hangman Page.
Now that I've seen a match of his, I think that could potentially be fun, but I wouldn't pick him over other people.
I wouldn't even go Cody at this point.
Oh, they've had matches too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they've had their fun, but it's slightly different Cody now. But I don't really see Cody as a one match guy. He's obviously big on the story surrounding it, and he'd be a good, like, well told story during the match. But the actual quality of it, I think, would be downhill compared to a lot of other people out there right now.
Pentagon. Should I even toss the name out?
No.
I don't think I wouldn't put Michaels with any. I mean, it's this week because like a match. He had a good match, very good match for Rey Mysterio in I think 2005 when in the Eddie tribute show, which is also a match that if we could bring two people back from life, then Shawn Michaels, Eddie Guerrero would be the one that I'd go with. But it's yeah, I don't see his style working well with luchadors for the most part.
So I'm just gonna throw this out there. If we could bring a person back to life, it'd be Brian Pillman.
Really, that would be the one?
It'd be like a '96 fucking crazy loose cannon Pillman versus the Shawn Michaels that wrestled Mick Foley at Mind Games. That'd be the one.
Huh. If we could bring somebody back to life, I don't know who I would have to pick, and I didn't end up thinking about that.
Well, it wasn't in the regulations. I mean,
just that's true.
It's just that I've always wanted to see the. I mean, and I guess we could potentially throw this name out there, which sounds a bit odd. The Rock.
You know, I was gonna ask if we were gonna get into like legends of WWE. But yeah, Rock would be one of the ones.
Because it's one of the
I
weird
really
ones
wanna
where it's
see.
somebody who was around in the same sort of era as Michaels, but never had a one-on-one match, as far as I'm aware. Maybe as Rocky Maivia, but not as like The Rock that we all know and love.
I
And
honestly
you
don't think
know
that it would
there
be
was
good.
so much shit there.
It wouldn't be good now.
I don't think it would have been good at any point. I don't think they would have had good chemistry together.
Really?
I'd like to see it. I mean, just to potentially be proven wrong. But I gotta imagine that would be one of those things that's bigger on paper than what it comes out to be.
I think that's probably arguably the case, but it's just I guess it's just an interesting thing of like, there's not really any Attitude Era matches you can go back to that haven't already been done.
Would have been a better match in 05 than fucking Hogan, I'll tell you that.
No, I just the Hogan match is just too funny. I'd rather prefer that. Even if the match was really good, I'd still rather prefer the Hogan one. But I can't think of too many other people on the independent circuit that stand out. Not for me, anyway.
Yeah, because like, let's be real.
It wouldn't
These
happen.
guys on the indies don't slow down, and that's kind of one of the reasons that Shawn said what he said. Now here, Callum, I'll bring Marty Jannetty back for a fucking match with the Young Bucks. Just like as a one-off ridiculous tag match.
No, not a chance.
Yeah, again, it's just a little bit. I don't think Michaels would like the way the Young Bucks plan out their matches and stuff like that. Just like, okay, so we're going to move over to this and do spot number 18 here or whatever. It's just like, whoa, can we just like call it in the ring? It's like, what's that? Just,
well, yeah,
I'm sure the Bucks do that on occasion, but it's just like a case of I don't think he'd be into the meticulous planning of it.
Well, I think that would be an issue with a lot of the main roster guys on the WWE
nowadays.
side.
Yeah, nowadays it would be, but I think Michaels would kind of have a bit more confidence of guiding them through it. And I'm pretty sure there's enough people, like, we'll probably end up picking people that we have a bit more confidence of being able to just keep up with Michaels in terms of being able to not just like follow his lead, but also be an in-ring general at the same time.
Do you think that in a case of like with the Bucks, where we know that they, plan out stuff a lot, you think that they would have enough respect for Shawn that if Shawn said, call it in the ring, they would, call it in the ring for him?
I think they did. I think you'd be hard pressed to find a wrestler that wouldn't do anything that Shawn Michaels asked them to do to get a match with him.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
So it's kind of like, okay, so you've got, okay, I'll let you wrestle me, like Shawn Michaels, just says like Shawn Michaels, so, okay, I'll let you wrestle me, but you can only wear one boot, and you've got to cover one of your eyes, and I've got to break two of your fingers before you get in the ring. So, sure, do whatever you want. Do you want to wear a ball gag as well? It's fine, it's everything.
Well, I mean, that kind of puts out all the ideas of all the possibilities. So now the important task, going back and just trying to figure out who that one person would be. And we're not going to take this in the same kind of regard as like a Mount Rushmore where we have to all come to the agreement of the one thing, but maybe we actually will end up doing that.
Well, hold on. Because I really don't like that they're even teasing it. And we've already said, not something we've seen. Why the Undertaker? Why this thing?
It's not happening. It can't happen.
And I understand that because those two matches, when they happened, 25 and 26, were what they were, people think like that there's this magical feud between them, but really their entire legacy that they've now been so linked together, it was just the one. It was the two matches,
And Hell in a Cell 97.
Right, but that's a little more, one off back in the day, like.
And the match that injured Shawn Michaels indefinitely. So.
All right, I'm gonna shut up now.
I just to say that they do have a storied rivalry, but before Michaels got injured, and they have these two matches afterwards, but they were kept basically separate because Michaels stayed completely on Raw and Undertaker was completely on SmackDown basically for the entire time.
I'm just saying that, like, I don't think that their story is as
no,
big
I don't want
as
to.
People think
It may not be as big as people think. That it's definitely. I don't want to see it 10 years on from the previous one.
I still would have argued the same case that I did back in the day. I think that they shouldn't have had that second match. I think that it should have been Shawn losing to Hunter.
Yeah, I agree.
25 was better.
25 was better. I'm okay with 26. What I didn't need was both 27 and 28 to be Triple H.
So that's the thing. Like, I think it could have been. There should have been 3 matches. There should have been Shawn versus Undertaker at 25, Hunter versus Undertaker at 26, and then
They mean Shawn and Triple H at 26.
Yeah, like if Shawn's retiring at 26,
well,
you want him to go down.
ideally,
to
I'd rather him retire at 27. I'd rather it go like, all right, like Shawn loses to Undertaker, Triple H loses to Undertaker, and then Shawn and Triple H have an issue. But if you want to switch it around and he says like, no, I need to retire at 26, then it becomes Shawn Undertaker, Shawn loses, Shawn HBK, Shawn Hunter, and they're arguing over like, you know, hey, you're kind of like trying to make your career a little bit too much crazy and stuff like that. Then he goes, finally, I'm going to put, you know, my career on the line, and Triple H wins. And then Triple H goes and blames Undertaker for it and says, you threw my friend into a fit. I'm going to fight you at WrestleMania, and Shawn Michaels is going to be the guest referee. And then you do the whole end of an era type thing at 27. That's, to me, the trilogy.
Yeah, it would have been a lot better than this.
That Hunter retiring Shawn would have played off a lot better with like the story going back to 24 with Shawn retiring Flair, and then you know, I just thought that would have been better.
And it could have been the whole "I'm sorry, I love you" pedigree, and then it could have been like, oh, that hurts
and
so
it could have been
bad.
the same
like
thing, like, you know, he doesn't want to do it, and then like he did with Taker, just slaps him in the face, like, no, put me out of my misery.
Yeah, it could have been that, and I think it would have been a lot better. And
it would have been a lot better if it was Marty Jannetty.
So, just for the sake of it, just for like talking point, if they said, "Look, we're gonna get Shawn in one more match, and it has to be somebody from 205 Live," who would you pick?
Brian Kendrick.
Yeah.
I honestly think I might pick TJP.
I don't know what's wrong with you.
I think TJP is very underrated.
You just want to see Shawn Michaels dab?
Oh, that would be hilarious.
I'd rather he had a match with TCP instead of TJP.
If we had to pick from somebody outside of WWE, who would it be?
Tanahashi.
Yeah, I'll go with Callum and say Tanahashi.
Since I've never seen a single Tanahashi match, I'd have to go with Omega. We gotta pick one person.
Well, clearly, Tony wants Shawn Michaels to have a heart attack in the ring.
Well, if you're gonna go.
Well, if he wants to have a heart attack, you should have a match with the Heart Foundation. But we had to bring one back from the dead at that point.
If we had to pick from NXT, NXT UK, and the Performance Center.
Adam Cole.
Baby.
Would I go Adam Cole? It probably makes the most sense. Mate. Yeah, I'll go Adam Cole.
Stop copying me, Cal. Fuck.
You said it first, Dad.
I would very much lean towards Adam Cole, but I think if somebody had a gun to my head, I think I probably would end up picking Ciampa. Oddly enough. Even though Johnny Gargano was my first thought kind of thing. Dream was actually, it's between these four. It's Adam Cole, Gargano, Ciampa, and Dream for me when it comes to that. I'd love to see all of those, but I think I might go Ciampa over Cole. But see, that's the thing. It's like, I like Ciampa better than Cole in the ring. I think Cole could maybe do better promos leading up to the feud. So, that's tough. But either way, it would be great. On the Raw side of things, man, that's tough because it's 4 people for me again. It's Ziggler, Owens, Rollins, and Reigns. I think I would take out Ziggler at this point because if I'm judging based off of what they currently are, that's tough. I really would like to see Owens. I'd really like to see Reigns, and I'd really like to see Rollins. Probably, I'd push comes to shove, I'd probably knock out Roman. And it's between Owens and Rollins. And I'm not sure if I could pick yet. Maybe Owens.
So, for me, it would come down to the story that's being told building up to this final match. And that leaves it with Reigns or Rollins. Reigns because we've established Shawn Michaels is obsessed with the fact that he didn't beat The Undertaker. And Reigns did. So I kind of think that would be a good story told there. And then Rollins has the whole tie-in with Hunter, you know, like I think that a good story can be told there. And then it's like when you get down to the match quality, I'm going with Reigns because I think Reigns can play more into Shawn's strengths.
Just mainly due to the fact that of what I believe, who can put on the best story leading into a single match, tell the best story in the match, work to Shawn Michaels' strength, which is Shawn Michaels working from underneath against a bigger guy, and being able to tell any sort of story, any sort of finish. It won't hurt anybody. It will make everybody look fantastic. Kevin Owens is the guy from Raw for me. 100% Kevin Owens.
And remember, too, this is one more match. This is his retirement for good.
Yeah. And I'd still go Owens to that. I think Owens would make him look the best he possibly could on the way out.
Nice. I'm cool with it. I'd like to see it.
As long as it's not Ziggler, I'm fine.
Hey, listen, guy. God. Ziggler is great.
Yeah, but I just the lasting memory of like thinking, Michaels could only have one more match and it was against him. I already hate him enough already. Like it's gonna be like I can never watch a segment he's in anymore because he took something great away from me.
And that's where I think that somebody like Owens would be a really, really great asset for that, because he could always twist that knife in the wound and just kind of be like, I'm the guy who retired Shawn Michaels. And you'd be like, oh, fuck you, dude. Why'd you do that? You know, like that kind of thing.
But Owens could also lose the final match against Michaels and still come out looking great.
Yeah, and he could still he could pull off even still saying that he's the man who retired Shawn Michaels, even though he lost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think if that match happened, and I'm not being funny to piss off Callum, it would probably have a finish like when they thought Shawn was only coming back for one more match with Hunter, and he beat him, but then Hunter took him out and sent him out on a stretcher. I can see Shawn beating Kevin Owens and then taking a powerbomb on the apron and, getting sent out on a stretcher.
I'd kind of thought it would be more along the lines of if it was nowadays Kevin Owens, it'd be like he loses to the super kick and then he comes out the next time and Raw says, Michaels kicked my face so hard it actually broke his foot permanently, so he won't be able to wrestle anymore. So I retired Shawn Michaels.
Well, then on the SmackDown side of things, we got some big names like Daniel Bryan, we got AJ Styles, we got the Samoa Joe thing, Nakamura. To me, it's down to Styles and Bryan. And I think I'd go Styles.
For me, it's down to Joe and Styles, because I really think that Joe could tell that good monster story with Shawn. But if we're going one more match and I'll never see Shawn Michaels again, I gotta go AJ Styles. It's too good.
It has to be Daniel Bryan for me. Just the story leading up to it, how close to the bone Daniel Bryan can get with all the stuff that he does. I think Daniel Bryan would probably be the ultimate choice for me.
So that's funny that in any of these matches, the potential lineups, we only have two people agreeing out of the three. Like, two people agreeing Kevin Owens on Raw, two people agreeing
Styles on SmackDown.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Two people going Adam Cole in NXT.
Two people going Tanahashi.
So that's kind of interesting. But Shawn can't have one more match on Raw, one more match on SmackDown, one more match on NXT, and one more match outside of WWE. He can only have one more match. And if you had to pick, now we don't have to do an agreement. We don't have to like come to the full-on agreement here. But if you had to pick your one more match for Shawn Michaels ever, and he hangs up his boots, he's done. It's not even in the discussion anymore. There's no more rumor mill, nothing. Who's your pick?
Epico.
Clearly. I mean, it's kind of a race between Epico and Velveteen Day, don't you think?
Marty Jannetty, maybe.
I
would personally, I'd take out my pick of Kenny Omega. I agree with what you guys say that it's a little bit too hard for him to do that. I would more than likely take out my Ciampa pick because he's still not as big of a deal as the Raw and SmackDown folk. And it would come down to me between Kevin Owens and AJ Styles. And I'm not quite comfortable enough yet to pick between those two, so I'm going to hold off reservation, but that's where my head's at right now.
It would have to be it would be between Styles and Roman.
Yeah, as much as I love Tanahashi and think that Adam Cole's great, I'd have to be between the Raw and SmackDown guys, between Bryan and Owens. I really love the idea of the Daniel Bryan story, and I think Daniel Bryan's one of the greatest wrestlers in the world, and they're close to the bone, but just almost the selfish nature of me. This match could do so much for Kevin Owens. It's just a case of like thinking of the idea of, I don't think Daniel Bryan needs this match, but Kevin Owens could live off this match for his entire career, and the boost that he gets from it, the way the match would be played out. So yeah, if Shawn Michaels could only have one more match ever, I would want it to be against Kevin Owens.
So just for the hell of it, even though I said we're not going to do the Mount Rushmore, it is funny enough that out of our picks where we have to go between two, we've got 2 for Owens, 2 for Styles, 1 for Bryan, and 1 for Roman. It would seem like if we narrow that down to 2, we would have to narrow it down to Owens and Styles, right? Because it's 2 for 2 and 1 and 1.
Yeah. Seems like it, yeah.
So, I mean, I've got Owens and Styles. Callum, you had Owens and Bryan, and Robert, you had Roman and Styles. So essentially it would be, you would vote for Styles, right?
Yeah.
So then that means 1 for Styles, 1 for Owens, and then I'm stuck with Owens and Styles still, and I have to make the pick. God damn, that's a lot of pressure. Well, before I make that pick, between your Roman and Styles, who would you pick, Rob? You'd pick Styles?
Styles.
Fuck. All right. I think if we're going a feud, we go Kevin Owens. If we're going one match, just go out there and do like an Iron Man match, we go Styles. Maybe. But, I think you factor in everything, I think Kevin Owens is underrated in the ring. And I think if I had to make that judgment call, if we were doing like a round table and stuff, and it was like, all right, Tony, it's up to you. You got to pick. I think I'm going to go Kevin Owens as well. I think I'm going to be the tiebreaker and go Owens.
I like it. Kevin Owens against Shawn Michaels, coming to you at the next Saudi Arabia show.
The greatest all-in. That's what it is. Man, there's so many good options. That's the good thing about this. We have to eventually do one more match. Somebody who's terrible. Like,
let's
one
make someone
more
who's
match, the Great Khali. Go.
Oh yeah,
Babatunde.
So that, yeah, retired and awful. So one more match, Santino Marella.
Babatunde.
Right.
Him against everybody.
Oh yeah, he can take on the world. Like eventually, like years down the line, we'll be able to do one more match, Babatunde. And then who will we face?
Well, real quick, because we're talking about like one more match for Shawn. We've also seen a lot of programs where Shawn is wasted. What is the worst Shawn Michaels program that you guys have ever seen?
there's quite a lot that he's had. Like the mid 2000s were just a dearth time for wrestling in general.
Yep, that's why I'm asking.
Didn't he have something with Carlito that sucked or something?
He probably did at some point. If I was to, and this probably will be quite controversial to some people, but Kennedy sucked when Michaels was around on Raw.
Yeah, that's the exact reason I asked this question.
So I'd 100% go Mr. Kennedy as the
Yep,
worst.
me too.
Yeah, that wasn't really good.
But Masters was terrible. The stuff with the non-mask Kane was terrible as well.
Didn't he have something
again,
with
even
Kate
that-
and Murdoch too?
DX briefly for 2 weeks.
Nah, fuck that.
Fuck, Kate and Murdoch.
Kate and Murdoch sucked.
I think they were underrated.
Yeah, nah, doesn't register too much with me. So that probably shows how much that feud was.
One more match, Trevor Murdoch. Ugh.
It's probably like one of the members of the Spirit Squad had really bad chemistry with him or something.
Bill Ziggler. There you go.
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, so we've already seen that match, so we can't have it anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah, so I mean, push comes to shove. Kevin Owens versus Shawn Michaels. That would be a damn good feud, and I think a damn good match too.
Yeah.
And like we kind of mentioned, Owens could really just sell that as one of his selling points going forward. As like, I retired Shawn Michaels. He could lose and still come out of it a winner. He can win and come out of it a major winner. I think that'd be a really good way to cap off HBK's career. Of course, if he gave me AJ Styles, or he gave me Velveteen Dream, or he gave me a lot of other people, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, you kind of can't go wrong when it comes to Shawn Michaels.
And that's why he's the first guy we're doing.
Yep. So, yeah, that's one more match, everybody. Make sure that you leave your comments below and tell us who you would pick for your one more match against Shawn Michaels and why that person would register in your mind as the best choice. And also, what you think of our discussion that we had going on here, and what you think about the concept in general, too. If, you want to see us do more of these in the future, then we'll try to do a little bit more of them if, something comes about. Maybe, like, some kind of, retirement or something like that. I don't know. And whenever there's, a spark, it'll be on the list. Jericho made sure about that.
One more match, Ember Moon.
Liv Morgan. I don't know. Seems like I had a lot of matches against her. But also, what you should be aware of outside of just the future when it comes to that kind of thing and the potential of doing more one to watch. I was going to call it that again. I keep wanting to call it one to watch. Eventually, we are going to do one to watch beginning of the year. One more match is in the books. Next week is going to be Hell in a Cell predictions, and then, of course, the Hell in a Cell post-show. So that's going to be, our normal kind of schedule when we have to that. Hot tags will be coming up before that on Monday, so stay tuned for that. If you want to be aware of when that gets posted, subscribe to the YouTube channel here and ring the bell for notifications, and also follow us on Facebook and Twitter at SmarkOutMoment, and check out SmarkOutMoment.com itself for all the other kind of things beyond the podcast material. Make sure you also check out FanboysAnonymous.com for all my movie review and all the other kind of stuff like that. If you have some spare change you want to throw our way to show your support for the websites, then hit up the Patreon account for both of those, or the PayPal if you want to just, cut right to the chase like that, or buy a t-shirt on the TeePublic or Redbubble merchandise shops, or, anything else that are on those shops and stuff. And follow all my other stuff all over the place. You click on my social media accounts and you'll find links all over the place. But if you're clicking on my accounts, you should also click on theirs. So, Callum?
Follow me on Twitter at Wigmeister14. Check out all the weekly stuff that's going out on the Smark Out Moment website.
I am at Dude Felice on Twitter and Instagram. I will be doing, I don't know if this will be out in time, but I'll be doing the WrestleZone daily live chat on Facebook today, and that's at facebook.com/WrestleZone.com. I'm on WrestleZone every day, checking out the news, posting the news, all that good stuff. And if you want to support me directly, you can buy a t-shirt at Time Killer Apparel. That is my apparel line, and that would mean the world to me.
Alrighty, everybody, that does us in for this episode. Thanks for listening as always and showing all of your support. We will tell you blah, 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 blah. We will talk to you, hopefully properly, the next time. Adios, everybody. This has been another Smark Out Moment, and we're being counted out.